Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Ken Hunley, Associate Pastor for Student Ministries here at First United Methodist Church in Madisonville, Kentucky. And this afternoon I've invited two of our high school seniors to come and share their thoughts about the current situation. The coronavirus impacts all of us, but it impacts high school seniors, I think, in a very unique way. And so I've invited two to come, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you, and then we'll begin our discussion this afternoon.
I'm Jack Dodds. I'm a senior at Madisonville North Hopkins High School.
And I'm Sarah Wortham. I'm also a senior at Madisonville North Hopkins High School.
Jack and Sarah are two of our active seniors here at Madisonville, not only involved in the church here in Madisonville, but also in the Chrysalis community, also very involved in their schools and sports and a lot of other activities. And again, I just asked them to come up, and I told them I didn't have a list of questions I was going to ask them, but I just wanted to have an informal discussion on how the coronavirus is impacting their world. Again, they should be getting ready for the Chrysalis weekend, for senior trip, for graduation, and all those exciting things, and all of a sudden, their world changes. So Jack and Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you all and let you all have discussion and share with whatever you want. I may interject a question or two as we go, but discussion's pretty much up to you two.
Well, we'll start with the Chrysalis weekend. That is usually one of my favorite times of the year. It's what I look forward to the most. I love the meetings and the interaction with the team, and then especially love the weekend. So receiving a text that wasn't going to get to happen kind of hurt me a little.
Yeah, I was going to say it was definitely up in the air whether or not we were going to even have it. And, we'd already been to so many meetings, and we were really prepared for it, honestly. And then someone started saying, are we even going to have it? And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And then, like Jack said, we got that text that said, we're not having it, or we're going to try to find another date, but we all kind of knew. It's like, is it even going to happen?
Yeah, the official line is it's postponed, but and that's kind of where we're at right now. We'd love to reschedule it, but who knows what tomorrow holds, much less that. So.
Yeah, it's all kind of scary, but you keep working through it, I guess. Our daily lives don't really. For those that think these days off of schools are just free days at home, they're in a way, but they're also way more than you would expect work-wise for us. I usually have 3 to 4 hours a day of just working, if not more.
I was going to say, I feel like I have more work now than I did when we were at school.
Are you talking in terms of school work because of the skills day?
Schoolwork,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So we have our normal skills days like we would have if we were off school, but then the AP classes assign work, like real work, and when there isn't an hour of class restraining you to how much work you can do that day, the teachers tend to load it on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say, like, it's not just events like Chrysalis that got changed. Like, our senior trip probably isn't going to happen.
That was scheduled the week after spring break,
yes,
right?
Okay. Week right after spring break. And I know personally, I was so excited for that. Like, it was one thing that was keeping me going. I was like, to finish out this year strong was like, we're going to get to go from spring break to the senior trip, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. We get to hang out with all of our friends outside of school, which, I mean, we do sometimes, but going somewhere, that'd be really neat. But it's probably not going to get to do that now.
And yeah, as a elementary schooler and then middle schooler, you always kind of look up to the seniors and the things they get to do and the people they are. But as an elementary schooler or a middle schooler, when you hear that they get to go on a senior trip, it's kind of like, wow, I want to do that. And then so for us to be probably the only class in a long time and a long time here to come to not get to do that, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. What other senior activity? Much thought about prom, if that's going to happen or not. Is there much discussion, thoughts about that?
I know it's just another thing that's probably in the air because it's a huge gathering of people, like tons of people are there, and if we don't get to have it, it's like that our senior prom is supposed to be the good one and the one that we make the most memories, but And like a lot of people have already bought stuff for it. Like girls have bought dresses, guys have bought their tuxes, and what do you do with that now? Because you can't really return some of them. And I don't know, I just think it's a bummer because, again, like that's where you make memories, and just another thing just probably out the window there.
What about graduation? Has been much thought about that?
I think, granted, I don't know what the future holds, but I think by the time prom and graduation would come around, I think things might start to settle down. So I think there's still a very good possibility we have prom and graduation, whereas the senior trip is most likely
Well, I certainly hope, and I think your parents and other people as well hope that you do get to have prom and graduation, because those are highlights of a senior year. What else? What, are you? I assume that you're in communication with your other seniors on a daily basis, but by texting and things like that.
Well, yeah, all the spring sports are definitely very disheartened, I guess is the word to use, that they might not even get a chance to play their senior season at all, whereas the basketball team got to play their senior season but then didn't get the opportunity to play in the state tournament, whereas the baseball team and the tennis team, both of which are supposed to be very good teams this year, don't get a chance at a season at all.
Yeah.
And this was going to be your first year playing tennis for North, right?
Yes.
I saw the picture in the paper. Yeah. Now, Sarah, your swimming career at North Hopkins is now over, right? You went to state, and now you're ready to go swim in college. Yeah. Yeah.
We barely got done with it before all this happened. So I couldn't imagine not being able to play my or swim my senior year. That would just be crazy. Like I would be pretty much brokenhearted by it, because like whenever you work for something your whole life, and then for especially like one season, because a lot of people rely on scholarships for like the baseball team, tennis, and probably even the basketball team. They were going to get recruitment on these their seasons and games, and it's just, what do they do now? So I mean, I couldn't imagine not being able to do my last season.
And then being a part of that team, it kind of builds a certain sense of family that you have, that no matter what happens, you still have that group of people to fall back on. And so then for that group of people to kind of just get pulled out from under you, and your chance to have a season with them for the last time, kind of, I couldn't fathom what that would be like, no.
Are there other activities that you miss right now? For example, church, youth group, things like that. Are there things that you have not been able to be a part of during this time?
Yes, church, Sunday school, youth group, reunion group have all been currently suspended, and we're trying, like this right here, we're trying to find alternate ways to get around it. And like our reunion group is going to have a Zoom video chat to meet Tuesday mornings, because we can no longer meet at Arby's. But
so I think it's crazy that we are having to suspend all these things. It's great that there's the live streaming of Sunday morning church, like that's great. But like I wonder when the last time we've had to call off church was, because like whenever weather-related reasons, like you normally can still have it, but like people aren't allowed to come. Like that is crazy. I don't. It hasn't happened in our lifetime.
yeah, not while I've been
It was really different last Sunday morning when we were live streaming, and there were 6 of us there. The pastors were there, and Jessica, our music director, and then the camera people. There's only people in the sanctuary. And I know John preached last Sunday. It had to be unusual preaching to an empty sanctuary, if you will. So
Yeah. I was going to say also Easter Sunday is coming up, and like I love Easter Sunday services. I don't know what it is about it, but I love them. But I don't even think we're going to get to.
We will have an Easter service. What it looks like, it may be live streamed, and we the pastors and the music department, we're still meeting, planning all our activities. We talked earlier this week about Holy Week, because we have services every day, how we're going to do those in the event that we're not back together. So we will have Easter. It may not look like the ones in the past, but it's going to be different. Hey, question: how is this situation? How's it impacted your faith as you go through this?
I think it's definitely been a test, so to say, because the main struggle I have with my faith is that when I don't have the opportunity to be involved, or I choose not to be involved, I tend to to stray away and kind of push God and my faith to the side. Whereas if I go to youth group every Wednesday and Sunday school on Sundays, then that tends to keep me reeled in. So then for all of that opportunity to just be pulled out from underneath me, it's been definitely a challenge to try and figure out how to work that into my daily schedule and do that on my own rather than with everybody else.
Yeah, I can agree with what he said. And another thing is, like, you're on social media a lot and you see people talking about what's happening, and sometimes I see things that say, you know, why is this happening? Why is God, like, allowing this? And I ask myself that, and I don't even know how to answer it to myself. And so it's kind of scary to think about. And but in that, I find myself praying about it more, and I hope other people can do that too. If they're, like, worried about everything that's happening, that they can turn to prayer and just let that guide them to peace.
Yeah, I think it's a challenging time for all of us. Think about the school system, and so grateful for the Hopkins County school system and the way they're delivering lunches and breakfasts to the students, and still trying to keep things as normal as they can be in a very unnormal time, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other thoughts that you have about being a senior in the midst of the coronavirus situation?
I guess a little bit of a positive outlook is that the break from having to sit at school is nice, because we're at school, you sometimes feel like you're sitting there for no reason, where at home, all the time you spend working, you actually spend working rather than questioning why you're there.
Yeah, I would say pretty much every day I make the comment at least once, why am I here? I'm sitting here doing nothing at all.
Yeah, staring at my toes.
But I don't know, I just, you know, you go every day seeing these people for pretty much your whole, some of them you see since the kindergarten, every single day. And like, we were really kind of counting on these last few months to spend with all of our friends before we never get to see them together again. And I don't know, it's still kind of hard to even process. Like, I know it's happening, but, like, I don't know, it's just kind of a blur almost.
And if you ask some of the people who have graduated high school and moved on to college or other things, not very often do you see them have the same friend group that they had in high school, in college, or even very many of the same friends at all. And so it is kind of scary to think that, what if the last couple of months I had at school were the last couple of months I'm going to be best friends with these guys or good friends with these guys. And
you think you have that time.
Yeah, you might not, you never know.
A lot of things are up in the air, a lot of uncertainty going on. Jack and Sarah, I appreciate y'all coming up this afternoon and sharing your words of wisdom. I think you both know how much I appreciate both of you, how much I respect you. And I know this is a challenging time for everybody, but I've had several people say to me that, it's got to be tough being a senior, and that's why I wanted to give you a chance to come up and share your thoughts. Next week, we're having your brother, Drew Dodds, and Katie Wade coming up and talking about what it's like to be a college student. You're away at college, everything's going well, and all of a sudden they say, okay, go home and do it online. And so Katie and Drew will share with us some of their thoughts on that. Again, thanks to all of you for joining us this afternoon. Stay connected with us. We have a lot of opportunities through the web that we can that you can continue to be connected with the church. Let us know if there's anything that we as a church can do for you. And have a great weekend, and be safe out there. Thank you.